It is the first day of November 2011. This year that has basically come in so quickly is about to go out even faster. Amazing. And then we enter 2012. The New Age doomsday system, I predict, will still be here when we hit 2013. But it is going to be an insane time, undoubtedly. By the way, when I was with Ventura last week with his TV show, I can't get into a lot of the TV show, but some amazing stuff was discovered. But he is going to be joining us tomorrow at 12 o'clock, high noon, second hour. He will be joining us to break down the TSA, his view on Occupy Wall Street, and a lot more. And let me tell you, the Gov is wound up. When he learned that they now have TSA checkpoints on the highways, he got pretty upset. Because he really doesn't like having his genitals grabbed. I don't either, by pot-bellied perv types. He's really enjoying driving around in his RV and avoiding these people. And then when I told him that, it was kind of like I told him a relative had died or something. But after he saw the proof, he got pretty upset. That's the thing about Ventura, folks. You can love him or hate him, but from all the people I've met, he is so real. He's really just kind of a Minnesota hillbilly. He's a great guy, and his political awakening is really accelerating. In fact, a few times we were talking about Operation Phoenix and Bob Kerrey, the senator, because we were bringing up Colonel Alexander and talking about him. I don't want to get into too much, but the point is that I was saying, yeah, wasn't Alexander involved in My Lai? And he's like, no, it's Phoenix. And then I was getting that confused with Bob Kerrey. Point is, Ventura really knows his stuff. I mean, now that guy probably reads a book every couple days, big, thick political tomes. I mean, he's really into it, is my point. He'd be sitting there waiting for us to go to an interview with somebody or go to another location where we were investigating things, and he'd just be reading stuff. He's just really a character. And, well, Ventura is joining us tomorrow, and then I'm bad about calling and booking guests myself, and then Jaron's always like, look, you said you want to get these guests on, call them. So I called Dave Mustaine, and I waited till about 10 minutes before airtime, and I called Dave up, and he was going to come to town a few weeks ago, but he's going to come later because he's got to go do his South American tour. His new album comes out today. And I called and woke up Dave Mustaine. I said, you're not asleep? No, but kind of. I did Jimmy Kimmel last night. Yeah, no, I want to come on your show. Sure. And I was like, well, great. And then I had this image of MTV's documentary about Dave Mustaine about you don't want to wake him up. Of course, I think that was back in the old days. The legendary temper. Reportedly, he had all of Metallica scared of him. But I think he has certainly mellowed over the years. But it was funny. Jaron's like, I'm driving in late because they had wrecks and everything else out there. And I get ready at home. I was driving in to the broadcast command center this morning. And it's about 15 till. I'm late. I'm almost here. And Jaron's like, well, you better call him if you want to get him on. He's about to go on his tour. I guess Jaron saw that in the news or something. And I said, well, I don't want to wake him up. I'm like, well, I guess he's in San Diego. It's like 8:45. I'll call him. And all that's going through my mind is don't be asleep. It's just funny if you're a Dave Mustaine fan going way back. Okay, that's not the news. I'll dispense with the pleasantries when we come back. It's big, it's important, it's bold, it's open phones as well. We're going to be live here for the next 3 hours, and after I go over a smattering of what I believe is the most important news and information, we will open the phones up and go to your calls. No guest today. I could have a guest, but I told the producers that let's just leave the decks clear so that I can cover a lot of news, get to a lot of different news clips that I want to analyze today, and a lot more. We do have Jesse Ventura with breaking news joining us tomorrow in the second hour. And I'm going to probably get Dave Mustaine on sometime this week via telephone. I was wanting to get it when he came to Austin, but that's going to come up in a few months or so. But Dave Mustaine's new album with Megadeth coming out today, and again, liberty-oriented, exposing the New World Order, styled like his last hit album, Endgame, named after it, of course, I'm very honored, my seminal film, Endgame, Blueprint for Global Enslavement. Okay, here is just some of the news we're going to be getting at. Big developments with China and the G20, and China now being the lender and the holder of not just U.S. debt, but Euro debt. All of this has been finagled and maneuvered by the globalists. They bragged about it in the 80s, how this century would be the Chinese government century because they want to use that collectivist model to leverage out all their global competition. It's the communist Chinese elite teamed up with the robber barons to basically globally consolidate all industrial development on this planet and deindustrialize the West. So we have that report. Greece is saying, hey, you think you've just passed this Euro expansion banker takeover for $5 trillion leveraged off a $100 billion debt of Greece. Yeah, nothing to do with Greece. It's just an excuse for a power grab. We're going to have a referendum on this. Our people are going to be allowed to vote. Every other EU country, except for, two nations, Ireland and one other, have not even been allowed to vote on entry to the EU because the vast majority are against it, over 80% in major polls in England, but they're not allowed to vote. David Cameron said, of course, 2 weeks ago that he's going to block a vote in the UK on the people of the UK, Northern Ireland, England, Scotland, Wales, being able to vote on not just being in the euro, which they've been sucked into unconstitutionally without a vote, but on the expansion of its powers, this huge new power grab. So that's all in a big tailspin right now and causing the European stock market to go down, a lot of other craziness, which is the exact type of volatility the central banks like. And I think it's all just a stunt. Clearly, they've had a lot of election fraud going on in Greece, or all those Goldman Sachs executives wouldn't be staying in office over there with this long-term scam they set up. So that's coming up. The Telegraph's reporting something that DNA studies have shown from bones that have been tested from Neanderthal with regular Homo sapiens sapien bones, and that is that Siberians share DNA with extinct human species. Well, so do Northern Europeans. I mean, you check out my brow ridge, ladies and gentlemen. But the point is that it's really from the deeper studies that have been out now for about 5 years with multiple universities, we cover it every few months, studying DNA, is that it really wasn't a different species. It was just a different variety. Kind of like I've got gray and black rock squirrels at my house that can breed with brown squirrels. It's just a variety of squirrel. And so this is really just a lot of spin, but it is interesting. And no doubt that, well, I'm proud to be part Neanderthal, folks. And they reportedly had more intelligence, advanced intelligence. So that is, I mean, there are, quote, differences in every group. Every group has, quote, on average, gifts that other group of humans don't have. But then within any group, you're going to have people who excel even more than others in groups that, quote, have those special gifts. So we're all diverse, but we're also extremely similar. We all bleed red blood, but Northern Europeans and Siberians are a little bit different. And reportedly, they've been doing testing on Japanese and other more Northern Asians, and of course, who crossed the Bering Strait into the Americas quite a long time ago. And they've now found Nordic blood in them. Well, no kidding. They've dug up Vikings all over North America, all over Newfoundland, all over Canada, all over Minnesota. This is well known with archaeologists and anthropologists, but not really advertised. So when you see a Native American, they've got Neanderthal, which is just an ancient Northern European group, an Ice Age man. You know, just certain types were able to live and survive, so you got a certain look. And then you've, of course, have got, they were predominantly meat eaters. That's why they would dig up the skeletons of dead Neanderthal and think these guys were hunchbacked. These guys were hunched over. No, they were killing large animals all day and attacking woolly mammoth, mastodon, saber-toothed cats, giant cave bears now extinct, giant lions that were also extinct, Ice Age lions. They've gotten into all those caves in France and things with the Neanderthal that reportedly invented art and so much more. And they've got 40,000-year-old caves that are just unbelievable. In fact, I saw a documentary about it, Herzog's last film, just amazing. Cave of Dreams, Forgotten Dreams, very powerful. And at the end of the film, they describe why the Neanderthals did this, is they wanted to communicate with the future, their love of humanity, and that is the most sincere human trait, is the need to build up the species and survive. And it's been a lot of archaeologists and paleoanthropologists believe, and it shows that the Ice Age was such an incredible stressor for Ice Age man that that's what brought their technologies to the next level, was because of how dangerous it was. But I'm now digressing. You're tuning in to hear about news and information. But a toast to the Neanderthals. All right, continuing. And they've dug up Neanderthal all over Russia, all over Spain, Germany, France, up into more the northern climes. Interesting article. We'll be getting into some of that. Hey, have you ever walked out of a store and you got a sandwich at the deli or something, started eating it, or maybe a chocolate milk you saw in the counter and you grabbed it, and then you get up there and then the lady forgets to check it out, and then you go out through the doors? Stores are now calling it zero tolerance. Even if you did it on accident and you went through and paid for $500 of food but forgot a milk or something, or an iced tea you bought out of one of their end cap areas, you will now go to jail. In fact, I've seen reports where people even try to bring stuff back and point out, oh, I forgot to pay for this, and they still go, well, it doesn't matter, security. But wait, I came to pay for it. It doesn't matter, you're going to jail. Again, they say it's corporate policy. It's corporate policy that we card a 80-year-old woman on a walker. I have seen a woman on a cane who looked like she was not far from the grave, one time I saw one at Walgreens buying pipe tobacco for her husband. I asked her, do you smoke a pipe? And she said, no, it's for my husband. He's bedridden, smokes his pipe. That was years ago. I've seen old women try to buy a six-pack of beer being carded. And when they ask for the card, it's about mindlessness. It's about you're not allowed to make your own decision as a teller, and it's getting everybody ready for the cashless society. But going back, because I didn't finish a point, the reason the Neanderthal had so many fractures and so many broken bones and were so debilitated was because all they did every day, and their diet was probably, they estimate, around 90% meat, because that's all there was, except in that tiny little springtime and summer, that they were jumping on the backs of bison. They were jumping on the backs of animals. They were running out in emplacements and jabbing spears into the chest of large animals, trying to get that meat, and being thrown like bucking bronco veteran rodeo riders. And they've looked at the skeletons in x-rays of veteran rodeo riders on different History Channel stories I've seen that are excellent, and compared it to the Neanderthal bones, it's identical. So that's why you have this image of the Neanderthal all hunched over, because in the individuals, the adult individuals who were dead, they had just broken every bone in their body repeatedly. So that's basically what was going on with the Neanderthal. Okay, now I digress back into why I raised that other point.